Chosen one. Pause for a moment. Stop whatever you're doing and breathe. This is not a random video. You did not arrive here by chance. Heaven scheduled this moment with your name written on it. Chosen one. Divine timing has converged, and God is speaking directly to you right now. Anointed. 1. The waiting season has been heavy. The delays, the silent battles, the financial pressure that made no sense, none of it was punishment. It was preparation. What felt like resistance was refinement. What felt like silence was God building strength in secret. As it is written in Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3, the vision awaits its appointed time. It will surely come. It will not delay. Chosen one, hear this clearly. You are standing at the edge of a supernatural breakthrough. Not gradual, sudden, not ordinary heaven sent. Elevation is aligning. Doors that were locked for years are opening. Divine wealth transfer is moving toward you quietly, strategically, and with purpose. Anointed one, understand your identity. Wealth is your calling. Money is your mantle. Breakthrough is your destiny. God is not blessing you to make noise. He is blessing you to carry responsibility, wisdom, and authority. Chosen one. This message is an instruction. When God moves, silence becomes strategy. Stay here. Listen closely. What heaven is about to release must be handled with reverence, discipline, and divine wisdom. Chosen one. Come closer in your spirit, because what you are stepping into is not information, but revelation. Before God elevates your life, He awakens your identity, and right now, heaven is reminding you that you were never ordinary, never accidental, never overlooked. There has always been a divine marking on your life, a quiet confirmation in your spirit that you were created for something greater than your surroundings. You have walked through seasons that others could not understand, and many misread your struggle as weakness, but heaven saw it as refinement. You felt isolated at times, but that isolation was not rejection. It was God separating you from noise so you could hear Him clearly. Patented. 1. The reason money has never flowed easily to you is because God was not preparing you to be a seeker of wealth, but a steward of it. He does not give kingdom resources to someone who is still shaped by the patterns of the world. He gives it to those whose hearts have been purified through pressure, waiting, and obedience. And though you may not have always recognized it, you have been in divine training for years. Every delay was discipline. Every setback was shaping. Every silent night was a spiritual classroom where God was strengthening your resolve. You have always carried a different relationship with money. While others chased it to feel important, you desired it to bring change. Even in your lack, your instinct was generosity. Even when your hands were empty, you still found ways to lift others. That is the evidence of someone assigned to carry divine provision. Heaven looks at intention before release, and your intention has been marked by compassion, vision, and purpose. Chosen one. 1. The battles you fought were never random. The enemy knew your identity long before you did, and that is why your warfare was intense. He recognized the mantle on your life and tried to discourage you before you discovered it. You were attacked because you are dangerous. You were resisted because you are called. You were stretched because God was preparing capacity within you. And deep inside you always felt different, not better, but set apart. That inner pull, you felt that sense that something greater was ahead. That urgency you could not explain, those were whispers from heaven, reminding you of your true identity. As God awakens this truth within you, He is also correcting the lies that life tried to build. You were never meant to live in constant lack. You were never created to feel unworthy of abundance. You were never assigned to remain hidden forever. The waiting season did not prove your smallness. It proved your strength. You endured situations that would have broken others, and you kept walking. You prayed when you were tired. You believed when evidence was missing. You held on when everything told you to quit. That perseverance is not natural. It is the sign of someone chosen for stewardship. Chosen one identity always precedes elevation. Before God puts something in your hand, He places something in your spirit. Before He changes your environment, He changes your understanding. You are not stepping into wealth as a beginner. You are stepping into it as someone who has been shaped for it. The compassion in you, the discipline in you, the humility in you, these were forged in the waiting, and now heaven is awakening you to what has always been true. You carry a financial mantle that is spiritual before it is material. You were not created just to receive. You were created to govern, to multiply, to direct resources with wisdom and purity. That is why God guarded your path so carefully. He let some doors stay closed until your character matured enough to handle them. He allowed certain relationships to fall away so they would not contaminate your blessing. He let you experience temporary lack so you would appreciate divine abundance. Everything was intentional. There is a fragrance of favor rising around you now, and it is not coming from your environment, it is coming from your identity. When God awakens who you are, the atmosphere around you begins to shift. People may notice the change before you even speak. Your presence will feel different. Your decisions will become sharper. Your spirit will stand taller, not because you are proud, but because you finally understand who you are in the eyes of heaven. You are a steward of divine provision. You are someone God can trust with increase. You are someone who will not be destroyed by abundance because you were refined by struggle. The money that is coming to your life is not there to change you. It is coming to reveal you. It will magnify what God has already shaped within you. And this is why silence becomes essential. When God elevates a chosen one, He requires stillness, not secrecy born of fear, but secrecy born of wisdom. Silence becomes a shield around your identity. It protects what is growing. It guards what is sacred. It allows God to finish what He started without interference. Chosen one, as heaven awakens this truth within you, understand that you are stepping into a season where identity is everything. You are not entering wealth as a seeker, you are entering as someone chosen to carry it with purpose. Your name is written on a destiny that cannot be erased, and your spirit is rising to match what God has already ordained. And chosen one, as your identity awakens, the next revelation waiting for you will move even deeper into the meaning of your waiting season. Chosen one. As you step deeper into this moment, heaven is inviting you to reinterpret your waiting season through a prophetic lens. What felt like delay was never denial. What appeared stagnant was never wasted. You walked through a season that your natural mind could not explain, but your spirit now understands. God was not withholding from you. He was preparing you. The waiting you endured was not a pause in your destiny, it was part of your destiny. Every silent month, every unanswered prayer, every closed door, every slow step was constructing the spiritual foundation required for what is now approaching your life. Anointed one. Waiting is never punishment for the chosen. Waiting is refinement. Waiting is alignment. Waiting is heaven's way of protecting you from stepping into something prematurely before your character, your discernment and your spirit were ready to sustain it. There were moments when you questioned whether God heard you at all. Nights when the silence felt louder than the promise. Seasons when you looked around and saw others advancing while your life seemed frozen in place. But understand this, God was not comparing timelines. He was crafting yours. He was not delaying you, He was strengthening you. He was not ignoring your cries. He was teaching you how to recognize His voice beyond emotion, beyond circumstances, beyond fluctuation. Your waiting season taught you patience, but more importantly, it taught you spiritual posture. You learned how to worship without reward. You learned how to trust without evidence. You learned how to believe without guarantees. And those lessons were not small, they are priceless. They are the exact qualities required for divine stewardship. Chosen one. Heaven watched the moments when you wanted to give up, but didn't. The moments when you poured out what little you had left. The moments when you were tired, overlooked, misunderstood, yet still faithful. That faithfulness was not invisible. It was recorded. It was honored. It became the spiritual currency that now authorizes your elevation. You see, waiting seasons expose the heart. They reveal motives, intentions, and hidden patterns that prosperity would have amplified. God was not withholding wealth to punish you. He was withholding wealth to protect you. He wanted to ensure that when the financial mantle came, it rested on a heart that was purified, grounded, and stable. Those long years of difficulty were not evidence of God's distance, but His nearness. A shepherd always walks slowly when leading a valuable flock. A potter always applies pressure when shaping a valuable vessel. A gardener always prunes the branches that bear the most potential fruit. Your waiting was not a sign of emptiness. It was a sign of investment. Heaven invested time, process, and transformation into you because what you're about to carry cannot be handled by someone who skipped preparation. And you, chosen one, did not skip anything. You endured what others ran from. You stayed when others quit. You believed when others doubted. That endurance became your spiritual elevation. There were also certain blessings God delayed because He knew the people around you at the time could not handle your transformation. Some relationships, some environments, some connections were never meant to witness your breakthrough. Had God blessed you too early, their jealousy would have suffocated your promise. Their disbelief would have polluted your faith. Their incompetence would have mismanaged your miracle. So God kept you in a waiting season, not because you were unready, but because they were unfit. Heaven waited for certain people to walk out of your life so your blessing would not become their sabotage. Chosen one, there is a reason certain opportunities didn't open when you knocked. There is a reason certain financial doors stayed locked, no matter how hard you pushed. God was ensuring that when you finally enter, you enter through the right door, the one He crafted, not the one you forced. Because doors opened by pressure will break you, but doors opened by God will sustain you. Every not yet you heard from heaven was protecting you from something your eyes could not see. Timing is a weapon, and God used it to guard you. In hindsight, you may already see how certain delays became blessings, how certain setbacks became redirection, how certain endings became divine protection. And if you cannot see it yet, your spirit will soon understand. Anointed. 1. I speak this over your life. Your waiting was not empty. It was gathering strength, wisdom, endurance, and clarity inside you. It was shaping you into someone who can hold abundance without trembling, someone who can handle increase without losing identity, someone who can receive favor without collapsing into pride. You are being trained for the size of the blessing that is approaching, and that training required silence, pressure, and patience. Think back to the nights when you wondered why nothing was moving. Those nights were sacred. They were the birthplace of your resilience. They formed your ability to stand tall when storms rage. They built the capacity you now carry, the capacity required for wealth, leadership, responsibility, and spiritual authority. Your waiting season was not a season of inactivity. It was a season of internal construction where God was forming the unseen parts of you that are more important than any external blessing. Chosen one, understand this: anything birthed quickly can break quickly. Anything built slowly will stand. You were not delayed, you were developed. You were not forgotten, you were fortified. And now the same God who walked with you through delay is preparing to walk you into destiny. But before the blessing arrives, heaven must reveal one more truth about your waiting season, chosen one. Now that heaven has redefined your waiting season, something deeper must rise within you, an internal confirmation that does not depend on circumstances, validation, or external evidence. This is the moment where your spirit begins to recognize what your eyes cannot yet see. The shift that is coming does not start around you, it starts inside you. And before God brings financial elevation into your life, He brings spiritual certainty into your heart. That certainty is what you are stepping into now. Anointed one, for so long you lived in environments that did not reflect who you truly were. You heard opinions that contradicted your calling. You survived seasons that made you question your value. But even in the midst of confusion, there were flashes of clarity, moments when something inside you whispered, you were created for more. That whisper was not imagination. It was heaven revealing your true identity in small portions, preparing you for the day your spirit would finally be ready to accept the fullness of who you are. And now, chosen one, that day has arrived. There is a quiet strength growing inside you, a sense of knowing that cannot be explained, only recognized. You are beginning to understand that what God placed within you is bigger than any limitation you have faced. You are noticing shifts in your desires, shifts in your perspective, shifts in your priorities. Things that once attracted you no longer hold your attention. Conversations that once entertained you now drain your energy. Environments you once tolerated now feel uncomfortable to your spirit. These are not coincidences. These are signs that heaven is maturing your discernment so you can carry the blessing without being distracted by anything beneath your calling. Chosen one, internal confirmation often arrives before external transformation. The shift happens in your mind, in your emotions, in your spiritual posture. You begin to lose interest in proving yourself. You stop explaining your journey to those who cannot understand it. You no longer seek applause for validation. Instead, you crave alignment. You crave clarity. You crave purpose. That craving is the Holy Spirit awakening the steward inside you. This internal shift is not loud. It does not demand attention. It reveals itself through quiet resolve, through a deeper sense of peace, through the way you no longer panic about what used to worry you. You feel yourself stabilizing. You feel yourself surrendering. You feel yourself rising, not outwardly yet, but inwardly. And this is the first sign that your breakthrough is approaching. Elevation always begins within. Anointed one, you may not realize it, but you have already passed certain spiritual tests. You endured envy without retaliation. You faced betrayal without becoming bitter. You sat in silence when God asked you to. You trusted Him even when nothing made sense. All of that endurance has produced something powerful in you: spiritual maturity. You no longer move from impulse, you move from intuition. You no longer speak from emotion, you speak from wisdom. You no longer cling to what is familiar, you cling to what is divine. This is why your internal confirmation is essential. If God gives a blessing before identity is secured, the blessing becomes fragile. But when God confirms who you are before the breakthrough, then when the blessing arrives, nothing can shake you. You become rooted, grounded, unbothered and anchored. Money will not distort you. Success will not confuse you. Favor will not overwhelm you, because the stronger your inner foundation, the higher God can elevate you. Chosen one, there is a version of you emerging, now a wiser version, a quieter version, a spiritually sharper version. You are beginning to recognize that the things you lost were never meant to remain. The people who walked away were never part of your next chapter. The doors that closed were never aligned with your destiny. And this clarity, painful as it may have been, is now turning into fuel for your ascent. You are seeing patterns in your past that make sense only now. You are remembering prayers that you whispered years ago and recognizing that God never forgot them. You are noticing how everything, even the disappointments, work together to build inner strength, discipline, compassion, and resilience. This understanding is not accidental, it is revelation. Heaven is confirming to you that nothing you endured was wasted. Every tear was counted. Every setback was preparation. Every quiet night was cultivation. Anointed one. When internal confirmation arrives, fear begins to lose its grip. Anxiety weakens. Self-doubt crumbles. You begin to shift from "Can I do this?" to "I was designed for this." From "Why me?" to "Of course me." This is not arrogance. This is spiritual acknowledgement. This is agreement with heaven's perspective of your life. And that agreement is powerful. It opens gates. It unlocks favor. It aligns resources. It attracts what belongs to you. Chosen one, you are stepping into the season where your spirit finally catches up to your calling. The confusion you once felt is being replaced by conviction. The hesitation you once carried is transforming into holy confidence. The fear of failure is fading because you now understand that heaven has authored your destiny, and what God authors cannot be undone. This inner confirmation is the seed that will carry you through the next phase of transformation. It is the quiet fire inside you that no circumstance can extinguish. It is the knowing that even if no one applauds you, heaven endorses you. It is the awareness that even if no one recognizes you, yet God has appointed you. It is the certainty that even if the blessing has not manifested in your hands, it has already manifested in your spirit. And chosen one, as your spirit awakens to this truth, the next revelation will illuminate the divine timing behind everything you have endured. Chosen one. Now that your spirit has begun to recognize who you are, heaven is ready to reveal the mystery of divine timing, a truth that will shift how you see every moment of your journey. Divine timing is not random, unpredictable, or chaotic. It is precise, intentional, and aligned with God's eternal design. You were never moving too slow. You were never behind. You were never forgotten. Every delay, every change of direction, every unexpected turn was synchronized with a timeline crafted specifically for your destiny. Anointed one, divine timing is heaven's strategy to protect what is not yet strong enough to be revealed. God does not release blessings when you want them. He releases them when they can no longer be hindered. He waits until the foundations of your character, your faith, and your discernment are able to sustain the weight of what He is giving you. This is why certain blessings seemed late, They were not late. They were maturing behind the scenes. Heaven does not operate in hurry. It operates in wisdom. There were moments when you cried out for acceleration, but received silence instead. That silence was not abandonment, it was orchestration. Chosen one. There were breakthroughs reserved for a specific hour, and no matter how hard you prayed, fasted or pushed, heaven would not release them until the appointed moment. And now your spirit senses it. You are stepping into a set time, a moment when heaven's schedule and your readiness finally converge. You may not see the full picture yet, but something inside you feels different. You feel the stirring. You feel the anticipation. You feel the spiritual acceleration happening quietly, like a river gathering force beneath the surface. That feeling is not random, it is prophetic. It is confirmation that the season you waited for is drawing near. Anointed one, divine timing is also heaven's filter. God will not release you into prosperity while you are still surrounded by people who would sabotage your blessing. He will not elevate you in environments too small to contain your purpose. He will not open doors while you are still connected to distractions that dilute your calling. This is why certain relationships ended abruptly, why certain opportunities slipped from your hands, why certain plans collapsed, even though you tried your best to hold them together. It was not failure, it was divine separation. God was removing who could not go with you, so your blessing would not be contaminated by the wrong energies, the wrong motives, the wrong eyes. Everything you lost was timed. Everything you gained was timed. Everything that stayed hidden was timed. And everything that is being revealed now is also perfectly timed. Heaven has been aligning circumstances, shifting people, positioning resources, and preparing pathways long before you realized it. What you thought was stillness was actually movement you could not see but were always surrounded by. Divine timing is subtle like that. Chosen one, think back on the moments when something inside you insisted not yet, even when your mind disagreed, even when your emotions pushed, even when your environment pressured you. That inner hesitation was not fear, it was divine restraint. And just as heaven restrained you in the past, heaven is now releasing you. That internal weight is transforming into an internal go. Your spirit feels it. Your heart recognizes it. Something inside you is awakening to a divine yes. There is a timing to spiritual elevation, and you are stepping into the phase where your prayers and God's plans intersect. You endured the pruning, and now the planting is about to show fruit. You survived the drought, and now rain is forming in the clouds. You stood in faith, and now manifestation is approaching your life like dawn, approaching the horizon slowly at first, then suddenly all at once. This is how divine timing works. Nothing happens, and then everything happens. Anointed one, do not underestimate how meticulously heaven has prepared you for this moment. There were seasons when God slowed you down so you wouldn't collide with disaster. There were moments when He sped you up so the enemy could not intercept your blessing. There were storms He allowed to strengthen you, and storms He blocked to protect you. Divine timing is not only about when the blessing arrives, it is about the path God took you on to ensure that when the blessing appears, you are spiritually, emotionally, and mentally ready to sustain it. God has been positioning you quietly. He has been aligning your spirit with your assignment. He has been reshaping your vision so that your priorities reflect heaven and not fear. And this internal alignment was necessary because the mantle coming to you requires precision, responsibility, and spiritual authority. You cannot walk into divine wealth with worldly timing. You must walk into it with heaven's rhythm, and now that rhythm is beginning to harmonize in your spirit. Chosen. One, divine timing will always reveal itself through signs of inner acceleration. You begin to feel a push without pressure. You begin to sense clarity without explanation. You begin to experience peace in areas where you once experienced chaos. These are signals that heaven has marked your season. When divine timing opens a door, your spirit recognizes it before your eyes do. You may not see the blessing yet, but something in you knows it has begun. And anointed one, divine timing is not just about you, it is about the lives your breakthrough will impact. God waited until your heart was mature enough to carry abundance without pride, to receive promotion without forgetting Him, to hold wealth without losing compassion. He waited until you became someone who could be trusted, someone who understands stewardship, someone who knows that blessings are assignments. And now heaven is whispering, the time you prayed for is closer than you think. But before this divine timing unfolds fully, there is a deeper purpose behind it that you must understand, chosen one. Now that divine timing has begun to reveal its rhythm in your life, heaven is ready to unfold the deeper truth behind it, purpose and calling. For every chosen vessel, elevation is never random, breakthrough is never accidental, and prosperity is never merely financial. Everything God releases carries intention, assignment, and spiritual direction, and before the blessing manifests outwardly, He clarifies the purpose within you. This is the season where you no longer just desire increase. You begin to understand why God is sending it. Anointed one. You have always felt that your life was meant to mean something. Even in childhood, even in your lowest seasons, even when you felt disqualified, something in you insisted that you were created for impact. You were not content with survival. Your spirit longed for significance. That longing was not ego, it was calling. It was heaven's fingerprint on your destiny. God placed within you a sensitivity that others could not perceive, a spiritual radar that sensed injustice, suffering, and divine opportunity. And though you may not have fully understood it, that sensitivity was shaping you into someone capable of carrying responsibility beyond yourself. Chosen. One purpose is rarely revealed during comfort. It is revealed in the tension between who you were and who you are becoming. Every struggle you endured forged empathy. Every loss deepened compassion. Every rejection sharpened discernment. Every financial hardship trained your humility and responsibility. These were not random hardships, they were instruments of purpose. God was building a steward, not just blessing a believer. He was shaping someone who could be entrusted with resources meant to shift atmospheres, uplift lives, and fulfill assignments that go beyond personal benefit. You were chosen not to imitate others, but to originate impact. Your calling is not a replica, it is unique, tailored, spiritually encoded with the exact gifts, experiences, scars, and victories you have carried all your life. Nothing in your journey was wasted. Everything was preparation. The very areas you struggled with are the areas where God will use you most powerfully. The financial battles you endured will give you authority to help others rise. The spiritual warfare you survived will give you discernment to protect what is coming. The loneliness you faced will give you compassion to uplift those forgotten. Purpose is never formed in comfort. It is forged in fire. Anointed one. The calling upon your life is not small. God is not preparing you for ordinary influence. There is a mantle of impact resting on you, a weight of destiny that explains why your path was heavier than others. You were not meant to blend in, you were designed to break patterns. You were not meant to follow, you were assigned to lead. You were not meant to merely receive, you were meant to steward wealth the way heaven intended, with purity, intention and vision. This is why God has been correcting your heart in secret. He has been removing pride, fear, greed, insecurity, and every old mindset that cannot coexist with divine calling. He has been teaching you how to think like a steward, not a survivor. When you were in lack, He taught you contentment. When you were in waiting, He taught you patience. When you were hidden, He taught you humility. When you were stretched, He taught you faith. Purpose is built through seasons, not shortcuts. Chosen one. Understand this, you did not choose your purpose. Your purpose chose you. And now that heaven is preparing to elevate you, you must align your identity with your assignment. The blessing coming to your life is not designed to inflate your ego. It is designed to activate your destiny. God is raising you to become a vessel of divine flow. Money in your hands will not just meet your needs, it will meet needs God reveals. It will lift burdens. It will fund visions. It will restore families. It will open doors for those who had none. You have a calling to become a distributor of kingdom resources, not merely a receiver of earthly gain. Anointed One, purpose demands clarity. It requires that you release every version of yourself that was shaped by fear, scarcity, or survival. You cannot walk into destiny carrying the identity of someone who doubted their worth. You cannot sustain divine elevation while still anchored to wounds that God healed long ago. You must see yourself the way heaven sees you, capable, chosen, purified, and assigned. And that shift begins internally. When you accept that your life carries purpose, everything else begins to align around that truth. Chosen one. Some of the desires you carry did not come from you. They came from God. Your longing to build something meaningful, your dream of financial freedom, your desire to impact lives, your vision for stability and legacy. These were not random aspirations. They were indicators of calling. Heaven placed those desires inside you to guide you toward your assignment. The fact that they survived hardship, disappointment, and delay is proof that they were planted by God, not by emotion. Purpose is stubborn. It refuses to die. As your heart aligns with your calling, heaven begins to release the next phase of preparation, responsibility. Purpose is not passive. It requires action, discipline, intentionality, and spiritual attentiveness. You must become someone who protects what God entrusts, someone who moves with strategy, not haste. Someone who understands that influence is a mantle, not a reward. Someone who knows that wealth is a tool, not an identity. Anointed One. What God is preparing to give you is connected to your calling, and your calling is connected to impact. You are not stepping into abundance for decoration. You are stepping into abundance for divine activation. Money in your life will carry mission. Favor will carry assignment. Increase will carry instruction. And your spirit will know exactly what to do, because purpose has always been written within you. Now that heaven has awakened your calling, the next dimension of your journey will begin unfolding in your spirit, chosen one. Now that your purpose has been awakened, heaven is ready to activate something even deeper within you, the financial mantle that God has reserved for your life. This mantle is not simply about income or material increase. It is a spiritual assignment, a calling encoded into your destiny long before you were born. It is the reason money has always felt different in your hands, the reason you sensed responsibility, even in seasons of lack, the reason you could never be careless with what God placed in your life. This financial mantle is not about wealth alone, it is about who you become when wealth begins to flow through you. Anointed One, understand this clearly. A mantle is not a blessing, it is a role. It is a divine empowerment that enables you to carry what others cannot bear. Many desire increase, but few are chosen to steward it. You are one of the few. Heaven did not allow your journey to be easy because the mantle assigned to you is not light. It carries generational weight, spiritual authority, and kingdom purpose. This mantle has been forming in you through every hardship you endured. Every moment you survived with little, every season where you learned discipline, every test that shaped your humility, all of it was preparing you to handle abundance without losing yourself. Chosen One. The mantle activates only in those who have passed through the fire. Wealth without character becomes poison. Prosperity without spiritual grounding becomes a trap. But God has preserved you through trials so that when the financial mantle settles upon you, it will not destroy you, it will elevate you. And right now, even before the outward blessing appears, heaven is activating the inner capacity required to carry what is coming. This activation begins with perspective. You are no longer meant to think like someone who is waiting for breakthrough. You are meant to think like someone who will manage breakthrough. There is a shift happening inside your mind, your decisions, your desires. You feel yourself becoming more intentional. You no longer want to spend for validation. You want to build for longevity. You no longer crave quick results. You want foundations that last. This is the evidence of the mantle awakening. It transforms your thinking before it transforms your bank account. Anointed One. Financial mantles are not given to those who seek comfort. They are given to those who seek purpose. And purpose is already shaping how you see abundance. You are beginning to understand that the money coming into your life has a mission attached to it. It is not meant to inflate your ego, but to expand your influence. It is not coming so others can praise you, but so God can trust you. This mantle will elevate your life, but more importantly, it will elevate your spirit. It will teach you to depend on God at a higher level, to listen more carefully, to move with wisdom, discipline, and discernment. Chosen. 1. One of the first signs that your financial mantle is activating is increased sensitivity to your environment. Your spirit becomes uncomfortable around irresponsibility. Your heart begins rejecting conversations rooted in fear, lack, scarcity, or negativity. You start noticing how certain people drain your vision, how certain atmospheres weaken your clarity. This is not attitude, this is spiritual upgrading. Heaven is recalibrating you so you do not sabotage your own blessing by staying in the wrong environments. You are rising internally, and anything that does not match your elevation feels heavy, distracting, or misaligned. Another sign of the mantle awakening is increased wisdom. You begin seeing the difference between desires and distractions. You feel the need to slow down, observe, think, pray, and plan. The same decisions that you once made emotionally are now approached with discernment. You are no longer drawn to shortcuts. You are drawn to structure. You feel yourself wanting order, clarity, and purpose in every area of your life. This is because financial mantles require stewardship, not impulse. When heaven assigns wealth, heaven also demands discipline. Anointed One, you have also begun to desire quiet, not isolation, but peace. You no longer want noise, drama, or chaos around you. You crave environments that allow you to hear God, environments that protect your focus, environments that support your next level. This shift toward silence is not coincidence, it is heaven preparing you. Money has a sound, and only those who walk in spiritual quietness can hear where God is directing them. This is why you are learning to move in silence, not as secrecy born of fear, but as strategy born of wisdom. Chosen. One another dimension of this mantle is generosity. Not emotional generosity, but spiritual generosity, the kind that listens for God's instruction before releasing anything. The mantle teaches you that giving is not random, giving is targeted. There will be people you sow into because God sends you. There will be situations you avoid because God shields you. The mantle transforms your heart from wanting to help everyone to being assigned to help the right ones. Wisdom governs your compassion, purpose governs your resources. You will also notice that as the mantle strengthens, your relationship with money becomes healthier. Fear detaches, anxiety weakens, scarcity dissolves. You no longer see money as survival. You see it as assignment. You no longer chase it, you attract it. You no longer hoard it, you steward it. You no longer feel ashamed of wanting abundance. You understand that abundance is part of your calling. Heaven does not apologize for blessing those who are prepared, and you are being prepared. Anointed One, the mantle within you is shifting your entire identity. It is turning you into a vessel capable of carrying what once would have crushed you. You may not see the manifestation yet, but the spiritual infrastructure is already forming. You are stepping into a higher dimension of awareness, responsibility, discipline, and authority. Heaven is preparing you not just to receive money, but to manage movement, the movement of resources, the movement of purpose, the movement of generational change. And now, as this financial mantle awakens in you, heaven is preparing to reveal the signs that your breakthrough is drawing near, chosen one. Now that the financial mantle within you has awakened, heaven begins to reveal the unmistakable signs that your breakthrough is approaching. These signs are not random shifts in emotion or circumstance. They are spiritual signals, indicators that the atmosphere around your life is changing. Before God releases a divine financial elevation, He prepares your awareness so that when the blessing arrives, you recognize it, receive it, and steward it without fear or confusion. And right now, those signs are already beginning to reveal themselves in your spirit. One of the first signs, Anointed One, is spiritual restlessness, not anxiety, but anticipation. Something within you senses movement, even when everything on the outside appears still. You cannot fully explain it, but you feel it. Something is coming. You may find yourself waking up with unusual clarity, praying differently, thinking differently, noticing patterns you once overlooked. This restlessness is heaven stirring your spirit, preparing you for a shift that your natural eyes cannot yet perceive. It is the internal whisper that says, "Get ready." Another sign is detachment from old cycles. You begin to lose desire for things that once captivated you. You no longer tolerate environments that drain you, conversations that distract you, or habits that sabotage your growth. People you once felt obligated to entertain now feel misaligned with your spirit. This is not you becoming distant. This is heaven elevating you beyond what is familiar. Breakthrough requires separation, and God often shifts your appetite before He shifts your circumstances. Chosen One, A major sign that breakthrough is near is increased attacks or resistance, not because you are losing, but because you are close. The enemy fights hardest when heaven is about to release something he cannot stop. Unexpected challenges, sudden discouragement, or emotional heaviness may arise, not as signs of defeat, but as confirmation that you are crossing into new territory. Pressure intensifies before elevation. Darkness trembles before light breaks through. These battles are not setbacks, they are spiritual contractions signaling delivery. Another sign is supernatural protection. Situations that should have harmed you suddenly lose power. People who intended to disrupt your peace are removed without explanation. Doors that could have led you astray are quietly closed. God begins shielding you in ways you do not fully understand. You may notice miracles disguised as interruptions, moments where heaven intervenes to keep you on course. Protection is evidence that your blessing is too close to be compromised. Anointed. One breakthrough also reveals itself through divine clarity. Ideas start flowing. Strategies come easily. You begin to understand things that once confused you. You feel guided, sharpened, and mentally awake. Even your mistakes start teaching you instead of defeating you. Clarity is the currency of breakthrough. When God is about to elevate you, He upgrades your vision first. Another undeniable sign is unusual favor. Opportunities seem to find you. People speak your name in rooms you've never entered. Resources appear at the exact moment you need them. Paths open that were previously blocked. You experience moments where you know not by logic, but by spirit, that heaven is orchestrating details for your benefit. Favor is never accidental. It is always evidence of alignment. Chosen one, pay attention also to the rise of boldness within you. You begin to feel less afraid of big decisions, big dreams, or big responsibilities. Where fear once silenced you, courage now speaks. Where doubt once held you back, confidence now leads. This is not self-generated strength, it is prophetic empowerment. Heaven is preparing you to handle the blessing by strengthening your inner posture. Another powerful sign is accelerated growth. Lessons that once took years now settle into your spirit in days. Healing that once required months begins to happen in moments of revelation. You mature quickly, spiritually and emotionally. God speeds up your development because the blessing is approaching faster than before. Anointed. 1. One of the most sacred signs is the withdrawal of your spirit into silence. You begin to value your privacy, your internal world, your conversations with God. This is not isolation, it is incubation. When something divine is forming, heaven pulls you inward so you can hear the instructions clearly. Silence becomes strategy and stillness becomes strength. And finally, chosen one. The greatest sign of all is a shift in your identity. You begin to see yourself differently, not as someone hoping for breakthrough, but as someone destined for it. You carry yourself with quiet authority. You speak with intention. You think with clarity. You walk with purpose. Identity always upgrades before circumstance. All these signs are converging because heaven is preparing you for what comes next. The breakthrough is not distant, it is approaching you even now, silently, strategically, and with divine precision. And chosen one, as these signs intensify the next stage of your journey, will unveil how heaven aligns every detail of your life for the supernatural unfolding ahead. Chosen one. Now that the signs of breakthrough have begun to manifest around you, heaven is drawing you into a deeper dimension, the realm of supernatural alignment. This is the stage where everything in your life, from the smallest detail to the greatest turning point, begins to synchronize with God's blueprint. Nothing feels accidental anymore. Every encounter carries meaning, every shift carries purpose, every moment feels guided as if an unseen hand is arranging your steps. And that is exactly what is happening. Heaven is aligning your path so precisely that even what once felt like coincidence now reveals itself as divine choreography. Anointed One, supernatural alignment begins internally. Your desires start matching your destiny. Your thoughts begin aligning with God's direction. You feel a pull toward habits, environments, and decisions that nourish your spirit rather than drain it. This is not self-improvement. This is divine recalibration. God is adjusting your inner compass so you naturally move toward the future He has prepared for you. You may feel nudges in your spirit, small whispers telling you to slow down, to let go, to listen more carefully, to move differently. These are not random impulses, they are spiritual cues guiding you into position. A powerful sign of supernatural alignment is divine discontent. What once satisfied you no longer does. What once entertained you now feels empty. What once felt normal now feels misaligned. This inner discomfort is God turning your spirit away from what no longer fits your calling. Heaven will not allow you to stay attached to anything that cannot go with you into your next level. Relationships, thought patterns, routines, even dreams may shift. This is not loss, it is alignment. God is pruning what is no longer connected to your growth. Chosen One alignment also reveals itself through the appearance of the right people at the right time. Not everyone you meet in this season is ordinary. Some are divine connectors, people assigned by God to open doors, offer insight, or confirm what your spirit has already sensed. When heaven aligns you, it aligns your community as well. You may suddenly cross paths with individuals who carry the wisdom, favor, or resources that your assignment requires. They may not stay forever, but their role is strategic. Likewise, those who no longer serve your destiny begin to drift away naturally. Heaven regulates your circle as part of your alignment. Another expression of supernatural alignment is the closing of wrong doors. You may experience sudden endings, abrupt shifts, or opportunities that collapse without warning. Do not grieve. These moments, celebrate them. God is protecting you from pathways that would have drained you, delayed you, or distorted your purpose. When heaven aligns, your rejection becomes redirection. What you thought was a setback was actually a rescue. Trust that every door closing is pushing you toward the door that leads to divine fulfillment. Anointed One, supernatural alignment often brings seasons of unusual stillness. You might feel drawn to rest, reflection, or prayer without fully understanding why. This stillness is not stagnation, it is preparation. God quiets your environment so your spirit can hear Him clearly. In this stillness, you receive ideas, strategies, revelations, and instructions. Your creativity awakens. Your sensitivity sharpens. Your intuition becomes clearer. Heaven is downloading exactly what you need to manage what is coming. One of the most profound indicators of alignment is accelerated manifestation. Things that once took months begin unfolding in days. Doors open quickly. Solutions appear effortlessly. Delayed prayers begin receiving answers. You notice divine timing operating with speed and precision. This acceleration does not come from your effort but from God's orchestration. When heaven aligns, movement happens without striving. Things fall into place without exhaustion. Blessings begin to chase you instead of you chasing them. Chosen one, supernatural alignment also brings clarity to your priorities. You begin recognizing what truly matters and what is merely distraction. You invest your time differently. You think long-term. You make decisions rooted in purpose, not emotion. You start protecting your energy, your peace, your focus, because your spirit understands that where God is taking you, discipline is not optional, it is essential. Another powerful element of alignment is confirmation. God speaks to you repeatedly through signs, conversations, scripture dreams, or even unexpected moments. You may hear the same message from multiple directions, not because you are confused, but because heaven is making sure you understand the season you are in. Confirmation is alignment's companion. One reveals direction, the other strengthens conviction. Anointed one. Alignment also affects the spiritual realm around you. Attacks that once overwhelmed you begin losing their power. The enemy's strategies become predictable. You discern traps before they form. You walk with confidence because you know heaven is backing you. Alignment does not remove warfare, but it guarantees victory. When your steps match God's order, nothing can derail your destiny. And finally, supernatural alignment manifests through inner peace, a deep, unshakable sense that God is with you, guiding you, preparing you, covering you. This peace is not based on circumstances, but on spiritual certainty. You may not know every detail of what is next, but you know God is near, and that knowing becomes your anchor. Chosen one. Everything in your life is shifting into divine arrangement. Heaven is positioning you with precision, preparing you for the moment where opportunity and destiny collide. And as alignment strengthens, the next phase of your journey will reveal how God begins opening the exact doors meant for your rise. Chosen one. As supernatural alignment settles into your life, heaven now begins revealing the next dimension of your journey, the unfolding of divine opportunities. These are not ordinary chances, not random open doors, not human-made possibilities. Divine opportunities are heaven-engineered intersections between your preparation and God's intention. They arrive at the precise moment when your spirit is ready, your character is steady, and your path is aligned. Nothing about them will feel forced. Nothing about them will require you to beg, chase, or compromise. Divine opportunities come with peace, clarity, and recognition. Your spirit will know, this is God. Anointed one. The first thing you must understand about divine opportunities is this: they do not appear until your internal landscape has been transformed. God does not open certain doors while you are still thinking like a survivor. He opens them when you begin thinking like a steward. That is why the inner work you've done, the patience, the healing, the discipline, the surrender was essential. It shaped your spirit to handle opportunities that could have overwhelmed you in earlier seasons. Now heaven can trust you with doors that lead to destiny. These opportunities often enter your life quietly. They may appear as a conversation, a small request, an unexpected message, a chance meeting, or a subtle shift that suddenly becomes significant. Divine opportunities are seeds disguised as moments. They rarely show their magnitude at first, because God wants your discernment to activate before your ambition does. You will feel something in your spirit, a pull, a knowing, a spark of recognition, even if the opportunity looks small on the surface. Heaven often begins great things in humble forms. Chosen. 1. One of the clearest signs of a divine opportunity is effortless flow. Things that used to feel complicated suddenly feel natural. Connections form smoothly. Doors open with grace instead of strain. Resources arrive without chaos. It will feel like the opportunity is moving toward you, not the other way around. Heaven confirms what it sends by removing unnecessary resistance. That does not mean you will not put in effort. It means you will not have to force anything outside of God's timing. Another sign is alignment without confusion. Divine opportunities do not bring emotional chaos. They do not produce fear-driven decisions. They do not cloud your judgment. They expand your peace. Even if they challenge you or stretch your capacity, they come with a sense of clarity that calms the soul. Confusion is often the mark of distraction. Peace is the signature of God. Anointed One divine opportunities also reveal themselves through strategic connections. In this season, you will meet individuals who carry keys of wisdom, influence, access, knowledge, or encouragement. These people are positioned by God to accelerate your journey. Some may seem unlikely, some may feel unfamiliar, some may appear only briefly. Their purpose is divine, not relational comfort. Heaven uses people as bridges, and these bridges lead you toward the assignment God has prepared. But just as divine opportunities bring the right people, they also expose the wrong ones. When God begins to open new doors, anyone who cannot celebrate you, support you, or grow with you will reveal themselves through distance, discomfort, or resistance. Do not mourn these shifts. Doors open differently when the room is not overcrowded. God simplifies your circle to amplify your destiny. Chosen One. Divine opportunities will often require obedience before understanding. God may ask you to take steps that do not yet make sense. He may guide you into territory you have never entered. He may ask you to trust Him beyond your comfort zone. This obedience is not blind. It is anchored in spiritual intuition. Your spirit knows what your mind has not yet grasped. God is leading you. Another hallmark of divine opportunity is that it brings multiplication, not depletion. Anything God sends strengthens you, expands you, uplifts you, or equips you. It does not drain your spirit, your peace, or your purpose. Divine opportunities add, they never subtract. Anointed One, pay attention to the timing of these opportunities. They may appear suddenly after long seasons of stillness. This is not coincidence, it is divine acceleration. When God decides it is time, things shift quickly. Years of preparation meet moments of manifestation. Suddenly the right door opens, the right connection appears, the right idea arrives, the right path becomes visible. This is how heaven operates slowly, then suddenly. And chosen one, perhaps the most sacred part of divine opportunity, is this: it will always call you higher. It will challenge you to grow, to rise, to expand your identity. Divine opportunities never keep you small. They pull you into new versions of yourself. They demand faith, courage, and spiritual maturity. They call forth the leader in you, the steward in you, the visionary in you. As these opportunities begin to unfold in your life, your role is simple: stay aligned, listen carefully, move with wisdom, and obey promptly. What God is opening for you in this season is beyond what your past could have predicted. And now that heaven has positioned the right doors, the next dimension of your journey will reveal the mystery behind divine wealth transfer. Chosen one. Now that divine opportunities have begun to reveal themselves, heaven is ready to usher you into one of the most profound and sacred dimensions of your journey, the revelation of divine wealth transfer. This is not a worldly concept, nor is it rooted in chance luck or human strategy. Wealth transfer is a spiritual mechanism, a heavenly redistribution of resources from the hands of those who misuse them to the hands of those who are called to steward them with purity, integrity, and purpose. When God initiates a transfer, nothing on earth or in the spirit can stop it. And chosen one, you are now stepping into the season where this divine exchange begins. Anointed one, understand this truth clearly: divine wealth. Transfer does not begin externally, it begins internally. It starts when heaven determines that your heart has reached a level of maturity, humility, and spiritual stability that can handle abundance without losing identity. This is why your process was long. This is why your journey was intense. This is why certain blessings were delayed until the right moment. God was not ignoring you. He was preparing you to carry what others mishandled. Wealth transfer requires a vessel that will not hoard, boast, or drift from God the moment increase arrives. You are now becoming that vessel. One of the first signs of divine wealth transfer is reversal of patterns. Where there was once financial stagnation, movement begins. Where there was once lack, provision begins. Where there was once struggle, strategy begins. It is as if heaven flips the script of your life. The places where you were last begin pushing you forward. The opportunities you were denied begin circling back in greater form. You may notice unexpected breakthroughs, forgotten debts, cleared unexpected income, released, blocked streams reopening. These are not random improvements. They are indicators that heaven has authorized your shift. Chosen one, divine wealth transfer often begins quietly. God does not always release abundance all at once. He releases it in waves, strengthening your stewardship with every level. You begin to see resources coming from directions you never imagined. New doors produce new income. New ideas produce new opportunities. New relationships produce new access. It feels as if the spiritual resistance that once surrounded you has weakened because it has. When God declares a transfer, spiritual barriers crumble. Another dimension of wealth transfer is replacement. God removes what was unstable and replaces it with what is eternal. He removes faulty foundations and rebuilds them with wisdom. He removes draining connections and replaces them with divine partnerships. He removes distractions and replaces them with clarity. This replacement is not loss, it is alignment. God cannot pour fresh oil into old vessels, and He cannot release kingdom resources into environments that cannot sustain them. Anointed one. The most powerful aspect of wealth transfer is heaven's justice. There were seasons when you labored without reward. Times when you were overlooked while others advanced. Times when you sowed with tears while others reaped with ease. Times when you stayed faithful while others compromised. Heaven saw all of it. Wealth transfer is not merely financial, it is restoration. It is God saying, I will repay you for what was lost, taken, delayed, or stolen. It is written in spiritual law that whatever the enemy used against you must return multiplied. Every setback you endured becomes a setup for elevation. Every sacrifice you made becomes a seed now maturing. Every moment you remained faithful is now counted as currency in heaven's economy. Divine wealth transfer is not about making you rich, it is about making you whole. Chosen. Another sign that you are stepping into this realm is the awakening of your financial discernment. You begin to see money differently. You no longer treat it casually. You no longer fear it. You no longer idolize it. You see it as assignment, as something God entrusts, not something you chase. This is a critical shift because divine wealth must remain connected to divine purpose. When God sees that you no longer see money as identity or validation, He knows you are ready for increase without corruption. During wealth transfer, heaven also activates divine partnerships. People arise who carry keys to multiply your impact. Individuals appear with resources, insight strategies, or favor designed specifically for your calling. These partnerships are not transactional, they are spiritual. They are drawn to your integrity, your authenticity, your purpose. They are not sent to compete with you, but to build with you. This is how heaven expands your reach. Anointed One wealth transfer may also involve opportunities others ignored. God will place before you what others failed to value. He will entrust you with assignments others mismanaged. He will give you positions, ideas, responsibilities, and access that once belonged to those who neglected them. Heaven does not waste resources. When someone fails to steward what God gives, that blessing is reassigned, and now you are becoming the one God can trust. You may also notice a sudden increase in divine insight ideas that come from nowhere, clarity that cuts through confusion, strategies that feel inspired rather than forced. Wealth transfer always comes with wisdom. God does not release increase without also releasing direction. He is not blessing you to wander, He is blessing you to build. Chosen one. The essence of divine wealth transfer is not accumulation, but transformation. You are not being elevated merely to live well. You are being elevated to fulfill the assignment on your life, to break generational patterns, to open doors for others, to build what outlives you, to reflect God's character through your stewardship. And now, as the revelation of wealth transfer settles into your spirit, heaven is preparing to show you how this blessing is tied to something far greater, your generational purpose and legacy, chosen one. Now that the revelation of divine wealth transfer has settled in your spirit, heaven is ready to unveil the larger tapestry behind it, your generational purpose and legacy. This is the dimension where your life begins to expand beyond your personal story and into the lives of those connected to your bloodline, your destiny, and your spiritual lineage. God is not blessing you merely for the present moment. He is blessing you for the generations that will come after you, the ones who will walk paths you never had, the ones who will reap harvests you planted through tears, obedience, and faith. What is being released into your life is not temporary increase, it is generational restructuring. Anointed One. Understand this, every chosen vessel carries a generational assignment. You were not simply born into your family, you were placed there as a breaker of cycles, a restorer of what was lost, a repairer of foundations that have been cracked for decades. The struggles you endured were not individual battles, they were generational patterns trying to repeat themselves through you. But heaven marked you as the interruption. You were chosen to be the one who says, "This ends with me." This financial mantle on your life is not just about wealth, it is about rewriting spiritual history. Your lineage has carried burdens, lack, fear, limitation, scarcity, instability, missed opportunities, but you are the one heaven selected to dismantle them. The blessing coming to you is not random abundance. It is divine compensation. It is heaven restoring what your ancestors were denied, what they prayed for, but did not live to see, what they fought for, but could not reach. You are the answered prayer of those who came before you. You are the fulfillment of dreams whispered by generations long gone, and the wealth God is releasing into your life is a symbol of victory over battles that existed before you were born. Chosen. One generational purpose also means that your life will become an example, a blueprint for those watching you, whether they are family by blood or family by destiny. Others will learn how to rise because they saw you rise. Others will break free because they saw you break free. Your obedience is not private. It is planting seeds in the spirits of others who will one day bloom because you showed them what was possible. Heaven is shifting your story so that your name becomes synonymous with transformation, elevation, integrity, and divine favor. Anointed One legacy is not about what you leave behind. It is about who you become while you are here. God is sculpting you into a leader who carries authority without arrogance, influence without corruption, and wealth without losing compassion. Legacy begins with the way you think, the way you speak, the way you handle responsibility. You are being molded into someone who does not merely accumulate but builds, who does not only receive but imparts, who does not chase validation but creates impact. Legacy is the ripple effect of a life aligned with heaven. There will be moments in this season when you suddenly feel a deeper sense of responsibility, not pressure, but purpose. You may find yourself thinking about the future differently, planning differently, dreaming differently. You may feel compelled to break certain habits, rethink certain decisions, or elevate certain standards. This is not anxiety, it is spiritual maturity. Heaven is aligning your mindset with the magnitude of what you are about to carry. Generational impact cannot be built on impulsive choices. It requires intentionality, wisdom, and vision. Chosen One, the wealth God is entrusting to you carries generational assignment. It is designed to fund not only your present needs, but the purpose of those who will come after you. It is designed to free future generations from the chains that held past generations captive. It is designed to create stability where there was once uncertainty, opportunity where there was once limitation, abundance where there was once lack. God is positioning you as the gateway through which your lineage enters a new spiritual and financial reality. You may notice new desires awakening within you, the desire to build systems that last, to establish foundations that endure, to invest in what carries eternal value. These desires are not random, they are the early movements of legacy forming within you. Heaven is broadening your vision, so you no longer think in terms of days and months, but in terms of decades and generations. You are becoming someone who plants trees whose shade you may never sit under, because true legacy is selfless. Anointed One. Generational purpose also means that certain attacks were stronger against you because they were designed to prevent what you carry from ever being born. The enemy knew that if you rose, your entire bloodline would rise. If you healed, your lineage would heal. If you broke through, future generations would walk in freedom. This is why your warfare was so intense. It was never just about you, but you endured, and because you endured, your lineage is shifting. Chosen One, Heaven is now breaking the old patterns of your bloodline, not through external intervention, but through you. You are the new pattern. You are the new flow. You are the new standard. And as God elevates you, He elevates everything connected to you. This is the power of generational stewardship. One obedient vessel can shift the destiny of an entire family. Your story will become a testimony that strengthens those who follow. Your wisdom will become guidance. Your breakthroughs will become inherited blessings. Your courage will become generational momentum. Nothing God is doing in your life is small. Everything has ripple effects beyond your imagination. And chosen one, as heaven prepares your spirit for generational purpose, there is one final dimension waiting, the prophetic sealing that completes and activates everything God has spoken over you. Chosen one. Now that heaven has revealed your generational purpose and the weight of the legacy you are called to build, the final dimension of your journey is unfolding the prophetic sealing and activation. This is the sacred moment when everything spoken over your life, everything prepared within your spirit, everything aligned in the unseen realm becomes spiritually finalized. A sealing is not merely a blessing, it is a divine authorization. It is heaven placing its signature on your assignment and saying, "It is time." Anointed. One prophetic sealing occurs when your identity, your preparation, your timing, your purpose, and your mantle converge. It is the moment where heaven acknowledges that the old version of you has completed its cycle and the new version of you is ready to emerge. You are not stepping into a season, you are stepping into a consecrated destiny. You are not walking into random opportunities. You're walking into ordained moments prepared specifically for your spirit. Everything about this moment carries weight, authority, and spiritual clarity. One of the first signs that this sealing is taking place is a profound inner stillness, a peace so deep it cannot be shaken even by uncertainty. This peace is not natural, it is supernatural evidence that heaven has gone before you. When God seals a destiny, worry loses its voice, fear loses its power, and anxiety loses its grip. You begin to feel anchored, not in circumstances, but in calling. You no longer question whether you are worthy, you know you were chosen. Chosen. One prophetic sealing also brings final separation. Before God activates what is next, He removes everything that would weaken or contaminate the blessing. This may look like unexpected endings, distance from certain people, or a sudden shift that pulls you away from environments that no longer match your assignment. This separation is not rejection, it is protection. It is God ensuring that as you rise, nothing around you is capable of pulling you backward. Divine activation requires divine purity. Another aspect of prophetic sealing is heightened discernment. Your spirit becomes unusually alert. You sense spiritual movements before they manifest. You recognize hidden intentions. You feel when something is right and when something is wrong without needing external confirmation. This heightened discernment is crucial because what God is placing in your hands must be guarded with wisdom, awareness, and spiritual clarity. You are not just receiving blessing, you are receiving responsibility. Anointed One, sealing also releases prophetic authority. The words you speak begin to carry weight. Your prayers feel stronger. Your declarations produce movement. You begin to see rapid changes, supernatural favor, and divine responses that remind you heaven is listening. When God seals a chosen one, their voice becomes a spiritual instrument. What you bind will be bound. What you loose will be loosed. Your faith becomes a key, unlocking what once felt inaccessible. Prophetic sealing brings alignment between heaven and your hands. Ideas turn into action, vision turns into strategy, purpose turns into reality. The very things that once felt impossible now feel inevitable because you sense God moving with you, guiding you, strengthening you. This is the manifestation of Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3. The vision awaits its appointed time. Though it lingers, wait for it. It will surely come. You are entering the moment where surely come becomes your lived experience. Chosen one. Activation also awakens supernatural boldness, not arrogance but divine courage. You begin to move without hesitation. You make decisions with clarity. You walk into rooms with authority. You rise into roles you once doubted you could handle. Heaven strengthens your posture because what you are stepping into requires confidence, not confidence in yourself, but confidence in God's hand over your life. Another part of this sealing is the release of divine instructions. You will begin receiving insights, steps, and directions straight into your spirit. Some may come through prayer, some through dreams, some through inner whispers that you cannot ignore. These instructions are not optional. They are blueprints. They guide your movement, your stewardship, your decisions, and your next steps. Heaven never activates a destiny without giving direction. Anointed One prophetic sealing also brings spiritual protection. Angels are assigned. Barriers are lifted. Hidden traps are exposed. The enemy may attempt resistance, but the seal on your life becomes your shield. When God seals you, nothing can unseal what heaven has ordained. You walk covered, guarded, and spiritually insulated from what once threatened your progress. And finally, the sealing brings a deep awareness of divine partnership. You begin to recognize that you are no longer walking alone. God is walking with you, not as a distant observer, but as a present guide. You feel Him in your decisions. You sense Him in your timing. You hear Him in your spirit. Your journey becomes a collaboration with heaven. Saturn. Chapter. This prophetic sealing is heaven's final confirmation you are ready. Ready for elevation. Ready for abundance, ready for responsibility, ready for influence, ready for the destiny written in your spirit since the day you were formed. And now, as this sealing settles into your soul, heaven whispers, "Step forward, anointed one." What comes next is not just blessing, it is destiny fulfilled. Chosen one. As we come to the end of this message, let your spirit remain open because heaven is still speaking. You are not standing in an ordinary moment. You are standing in your kairos moment, the divinely appointed season where what God promised and what God prepared finally meet. The supernatural transfer is already in motion. The shift has already begun. The doors that were once sealed are loosening, and the abundance assigned to your name is aligning with your steps. Anointed One, may this word settle deep within you. When God entrusts you with wealth, He is also entrusting you with purpose. Walk gently, walk wisely, walk silently. For the blessing coming to your life is not noise, it is strategy. It is heaven choosing you as a vessel, a carrier of divine provision, a steward of peace, wisdom, and legacy. I speak blessings over your hands, clarity over your decisions, and protection over your path. May your heart remain humble, your spirit remain disciplined, and your silence remain sacred as God continues to unfold what He began in you. Chosen one. If this message confirmed what your spirit already sensed, feel free to share it, speak life in the comments, or stay connected for more prophetic guidance. Go now in grace, in wisdom, and in divine alignment, for heaven has marked your next chapter.